Hello, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the team. During your safety orientation, you will hear and receive a lot of general information about work rules, and information about the safe work practices required while working on this project. Please be advised that there is a required quiz at the end of this orientation. This information is vital to your health and safety and to the health and safety of those around you. Our culture is based on the philosophy that all injuries are preventable and that performing work safely at every project, every day, is key to our long-term success as an organization. We have a simple goal. We want you to go home every day feeling as fit and as healthy as you did when you came to work, free from injury and illness. Your loved ones are counting on this too, and we don't want to disappoint them, ever. Our vision for safety excellence: to provide a safe and healthy work environment for all who are touched by our business and a culture of safety commitment to each other. A personal look at safety. Which one are you? If you ask 100 people what's safety, you will likely get at least that many answers. The goal for us is to bring everyone to the point of making a personal choice to work safe, because no one comes to work thinking, I'm going to get hurt today. We don't want you to be safe because you'll get into trouble if you're not. We want you to be safe because it's the right thing to do. Purpose of orientation. The purpose of this orientation is, number 1, to set and communicate goals. Number 2, to share the expectations for working on site. Number 3, to share your responsibilities on site. Number 4, to discuss the project culture of safety. Number 5, to review common construction safety hazards and appropriate controls. Number 6, the final purpose of this orientation to help with any questions you might have. What is safety on this project? Safety is a value, and that means it won't change. Our commitment to you is that no schedule, profit, or quality issue will take precedence over your safety. You are important. What are your goals? Your goals are probably to, number 1, go home to your family uninjured. Number 2, make money. Number 3, be part of a successful project. And number 4, enjoy your work. Our goals for the project are to, number 1, eliminate accidents. Number 2, make money for ourselves and the company. Number 3, be part of a successful project. Keep everyone employed. Number 4, enjoy our work. It is possible. Harassment. Harassment policy statement. We are committed to maintaining a work environment that is free of harassment. In keeping with this commitment, we will not tolerate harassment of company employees by anyone, including any supervisor or coworker, and to the extent possible by any vendor, client, or customer of the company. Fair accountability. Fair accountability ensures accountability is balanced, people make mistakes, consistent/impartial approach, transparent/fair analysis, believes few people are malicious, encourages coaching and honesty, traditional disciplinary principles still used for reckless behavior, reckless conduct is dealt with using zero tolerance, some actions justify dismissal. Tobacco-free campus policy. Our facility and construction site is tobacco-free. Smoking is only permitted in designated areas. The use of any tobacco product is prohibited by any employee, including faculty and staff, patient, student, volunteer, contractor, or visitor in all buildings, grounds, and spaces either leased or owned. Working inside a hospital. Working in a hospital is different than working in traditional commercial buildings. Patient safety and care is of the utmost importance. Always give patients and providers the right of way. If you have work to perform inside the existing facility, there are several things you should know. Prior to working inside the existing structure, your company will schedule you for specific training. This training will include all hospital safety guidelines as well as infection control. Owner facilities are accessible only for performance of necessary work. Badge access. Many facilities require badge access for construction employees. Please get with your supervisor to complete required paperwork for badge access. Access to the project will be strictly controlled to ensure only those with required training are allowed on site. Personal awareness. We want you to know what's going on around you during the day. The job site is constantly changing, so every 20 minutes, look 20 feet around your work area for 20 seconds. Personal protective equipment, also known as PPE. Minimum requirements: hard hat worn properly, eye protection, leather or equivalent work boots, a minimum 4-inch sleeved t-shirt, work pants, hand protection. Your company's rules dictate if they are more stringent. Other PPE may be needed, such as fall protection at or above 6 feet, hearing protection greater than 85 decibels, respiratory protection, dust, odors, and chemicals, additional eye protection, face shield, welding hood, reflective/protective vest. Head protection. Head protection is required throughout the project for everyone. Hazards that cause the requirement for head protection are falling objects, overhead work, impact as a result of bumping or striking, electrical, flying or swinging debris or objects. What else? Approved head protection. Approved head protection includes both plastic and fiberglass hard hats meeting ANSI Z89.1 standards for Class 2 and Class 1 only. Metal hard hats are not approved. Head protection inspections. Head protection should be inspected daily for signs of damage and removed from service if found. Hazards requiring eye/face protection are grinding, sawing, using power tools, high wind areas, mixing materials, splash hazards, cutting, drilling, overhead demo, wrecking/stripping forms. What else? Safety glasses. Ordinary prescription glasses do not provide the required protection. Proper choices include rated glasses with side shields, rated over glasses, rated goggles with corrective lenses. Face shields. Face shields are used with safety glasses. Face shields must be worn where there is exposure to the face. Hand and arm placement and protection. Hand and arm protection is always the last resort. Avoid putting your arms, hands, and fingers near or in the line of fire. As a last result, we assign, train, and use adequate PPE. Proper hand placement keys. Discuss all pinch point, moving part, potential crush, caught between hazards. Discuss other potential areas of concern or possible hand, arm, or finger hazards. Always know where your body parts are while working. Always be sure guards are in place where required. Hearing protection. When it is not possible to reduce the noise or duration of the noise, hearing protection must be provided and it has to be adequate for the exposure. Leather or equivalent work boots are required for all workers on this project. We are exposed to hazards when using jumping jack tamps, using remote controlled rollers, working as a rigger. Fall prevention / protection. We will comply with the Occupational Safety and Health Administration standards, also known as OSHA, for construction as it relates to fall protection. Exceptions will not be permitted on this project. Fall prevention and protection. Any employee exposed to a fall greater than 6 feet or more must be protected from falls by guardrails, safety nets, or by means of personal fall protection systems. Anchor points must be rated for 5,000 pounds. Consider potential fall distances. 100% tie-off will be used anytime installed fall protection is removed or disabled. Fall prevention protection. Examples of work possibly requiring fall protection are suspended scaffolds, elevated form work, material hoist flat roof, leading edge work, open-sided floors, working above dangerous equipment, unprotected floor holes, steel erection, precast cast erection, overhand bricklaying. Watch for fall hazards. Look for loose and missing guardrails. When you find them, share the risk and tell someone who can have it corrected. It's as easy as A, B, C. Anchor, body harness, connection. Fall protection. Fall protection may consist of guardrail systems, safety net systems, personal fall arrest systems, or warning line systems within this program unless otherwise noted. All fall protection must be positive in nature, meaning there must be physical means to prevent an individual or individuals from falling. There is a presumption that providing a conventional fall protection system for employees is feasible and will not create a greater hazard, largely attributable to the advances and prevalence of specialized fall protection equipment on the market today. Personal anchorage must be independent of any anchorage being used to support or suspend platforms and must be capable of supporting 5,000 pounds. Impacting structures below. Total fall distance. Your competent person should evaluate your work and choose the correct fall protection system to protect you from falls. Fall protection should be designed to: number 1, keep you from falling more than 6 feet, and number 2, keep you from falling onto anything that might cause injury or harm. Fall protection in boom lifts. All operators must be properly trained. All workers on boom lifts must be secured using a device adequate to arrest a fall or restrain the worker. Your competent person should choose your equipment. In addition to typical requirements, the Robbins & Morton Construction Management Team has best practices that will be used on site. There should always be an approved barrier between you and any fall hazards. If employees are required to go beyond warning lines, they must be tied off 100% of the time. Warning lines. Roofers, 6 foot from the edge. Everyone else, 15 feet from the edge. Scaffolding. All scaffolds must be designed, erected, and disassembled under the supervision of a competent person. All scaffolds shall be inspected by the competent person, daily, prior to use, and after any changes. Scaffold platforms will be completely decked at all working levels. Ladder access will be provided. Rolling scaffold height shall not be more than 4 times the scaffold's width or by manufacturer's recommendations. If so, anchor or utilize outriggers. Never ride a rolling scaffold. Excavations and trenching. All trenches and excavations shall be inspected daily, prior to use, and after any potential changes, i.e. weather, equipment, etc. No employees shall enter a trench or excavation without the competent person's approval. Trenches or excavations greater than 4 feet deep require a method of access or egress. Trenches shall have sufficient ladders to ensure all travel distances to a ladder are less than 25 feet. All trenches and excavations 5 foot deep or more require sloping or shoring or shielding. If soil is not visually and manually classified, it must be treated as type C soil. All spoils shall be kept 2 foot back from the edge of the excavation or trench. Cave-in hazard. This excavation has inadequate support posts and egress access. Always follow the manufacturer rules for any protective system. 8 foot deep, no protective system. This worker went into the hole to clean out spalling materials. Basically, the hole was caving in. Hydraulic trench support. Using hydraulic jacks, the operator can easily drop the system into the hole. Once in place, hydraulic pressure is increased to keep the forms in place. Trench pins are installed in case of hydraulic failure. Electrical safety. Only the site electrical contractor will perform work on electrical lines, circuits, or equipment. Extension and tool cords must be inspected prior to each use. All temporary power outlets will be equipped with GFCIs. When plugging into permanent power, a GFCI adapter must be used and shall be provided by the subcontractor. Welding leads and cords will be hung using insulated wire or equivalent. Keep welding leads off guardrails and stair rails. No exposed conductors. Electrical cord management. Keep exits clear of cords. Ideas. Run cords overhead. Run cords around perimeter. Tape cords down or use cord covers. Use cones for short duration use of extension cord, 5 minutes or less. All cords must be stored and put away after use. Temporary wiring must be installed to facilitate proper cord management. Never run a cord through water. All ladders must be OSHA approved and meet construction standards, Type 1 or Type 1A. All ladders must be used in accordance with manufacturer's guidelines. Step ladders, also known as A-frame ladders, fully open and locked. Do not use the top and top step of the ladder. Extension ladders may not be separated. Ladders must extend 36 inches above the landing point. Aluminum/metal ladders of any type are not allowed on site. Ladders should be clearly marked with the company name. Ladders must be inspected prior to each use. Damaged ladders must not be used. All ladder users must be properly trained. Ladder types will be determined by your competent person. Basic tool safety rules. Maintain tools. Use the right tool for the job. Inspect before use. Operate according to manufacturer's instructions. Use PPE. Use guards. Power actuated tools. User must be trained and licensed to operate. Test tool each day before loading to ensure these safety devices are working properly. Wear suitable ear, eye, and face protection. Select a powder level that will do the work without excessive force. Lockout, tagout. Definitions: hazardous energy. Any form of energy, electrical, pneumatic, thermal, hydraulic, gaseous, or gravity, that could potentially cause, through its release, personal injury or property damage. Work on electrical components that require lockout, tagout will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. MC Dean will be the only ones allowed to work on live, de-energized equipment. Crane safety. Only NCCO certified crane operators may operate any cranes on this site. Valid annual crane inspection report shall be provided to R&M prior to any crane operations. Crane operators maintain full control over hoisting and must obey all operator manual requirements, including wind. Documented daily crane inspection must be performed and in the crane at all times. Crane use. Cranes will not be brought on site without prior notification and approval. We have very specific requirements for crane documentation. This process can take from days to weeks to accomplish. Crane inspections. The crane inspection is not a sticker on the window. It is a written pass or fail document that lists the items inspected, any discrepancies, corrections, dates corrected, done by a third party only. Crane safety. Operator's manual must be in the rig at all times. Only qualified riggers shall rig loads. All rigging equipment shall be inspected daily and prior to any lift. Loads shall not be lifted over personnel. Crane operators and signalmen shall utilize horns or whistles to warn site personnel of impending lift. 100% use of taglines unless greater hazard. Safety latches are required on all hooks. Swinging radius. Stay out of the swing radius of the crane. Make sure there are barrier guards showing the swing radius. Equipment and vehicle use. Only trained or authorized employees may operate vehicles or equipment. Use of seat belts is required. Mobile equipment that has a restricted rear view must have a working backup alarm and/or a spotter. Never back up without looking. Workers on the ground, always make eye contact with the operator and signal your intention before approaching the equipment. The only way to be sure the operator saw you is if you see them looking at you. Take care around equipment. Watch for equipment. Know what's above you when you come out of the building. Operating a forklift safely. No one is permitted to operate a forklift unless they have received forklift training and have been evaluated using the lift. Training is only good for 3 years. Hot work/fire prevention. Hot work definition: any activity that produces excessive heat, exposed heater coils, open flame, or sparks. Requirements. Number 1. The area around and below the hot work must be cleared of all flammables and combustibles. All items that cannot be removed must be covered with fire blankets. All floor and wall openings must be protected. Number 2. A fully charged, inspected ABC fire extinguisher must be located adjacent to the hot work operation. Fire protection. Should you need to use a fire extinguisher on the project, remember the following. PASS. Pass. Number 1. Pull the pin from the fire extinguisher. Number 2. Aim the hose of the extinguisher at the base of the fire. Number 3. Squeeze the trigger of the fire extinguisher. Number 4. Sweep extinguishing media back and forth at the base of the fire. Report all extinguisher use to your supervisor. You should provide your own task-specific fire extinguisher. The building's fire extinguishers are for the building. Welding safety. Welding arcs contain ultraviolet light, which may cause eye damage. The spectrum of the welding arc is similar to that of the sun. Welding arcs can be in excess of 3,100 degrees. Do not watch these operations. Hazard communication, your right to know. Safety data sheets, also known as SDS. All hazardous materials on site shall have an SDS on file at the site. SDS logs will be maintained by all contractors. SDS locations shall be made known and available to all employees and at centralized locations. The appropriate MSDS should be reviewed prior to the handling of new hazardous materials. Container labeling. All hazardous materials, including flammable and combustible materials, must be properly labeled and stored in an appropriate container or a locker. All containers used to store any material must be appropriately labeled. Chemical storage. All chemicals and equipment containing chemicals must be stored in approved areas, i.e., a chemical cabinet or a bunker. Contractors are responsible for removing all unused chemicals from the project site at the completion of their project. Compressed gas cylinders will be secured at all times. All dedicated chemical storage areas for contractors must have safety data sheets available at the storage location. Confined space entry. Confined space means a space that 1. Is large enough and so configured that an employee can bodily enter it. 2. Has limited or restricted means for entry and exit, and 3. Is not designed for continuous employee occupancy. The Robbins & Morton Construction Management Team must be notified 24 hours in advance of any confined space entry. Entry into a confined space may require locking and tagging of equipment, process lines, or electrical components. All workers required to enter, attend, or supervise a confined space entry must be trained in accordance with 29 CFR 1926.1200 per project requirement. Lifting. Plan before you lift. Consider the following: weight, size, shape, path of travel. Bend or flex your knees. Lift with your legs and keep your feet pointed at the load. Avoid twisting. Ask someone for help. Do not attempt to lift beyond your strength. If the load is too heavy or awkward, ask for help. Never lift more than 50 pounds unassisted. Signs and barricades. Employees will read and adhere to all warning signs, decals, and barricades. Red danger barricade tape is used when there is a potentially life-threatening situation and shall not be crossed. Yellow caution barricade tape is used in areas where a non-life-threatening hazard exists. Caution tape may be crossed once an employee has access to the danger and can enter without injury. Barricades should only be installed with adequate contact information. Name, company, and phone number is sufficient. Remove barricades as soon as work is completed. Housekeeping. Work areas must be kept clear and free of obstructions by material and debris. Clean as you go practices are required and contractual obligations. Materials will not be stored in a manner that will block, restrict, impede, or prevent access to an egress path or emergency equipment. Stairways shall not be used as storage areas. Incidents, accidents, or near misses. All accidents and incidents must be reported to your foreman and the Robinson Morton Construction Management Team immediately. This includes near misses, injury or damage caused by construction or non-construction events, injury or damage to the general public, on-the-job injury but medical attention waived. All accidents involving medical attention will require that the injured party submit a sample for drug and alcohol screening. Incident reporting, root cause analysis. A root cause analysis will be conducted for incidents by the project team and the causes/corrective measures shared with the project participants. You could be the reason the next injury doesn't happen. Incident analysis basic attribution error. One of the greatest errors in incident analysis is believing the work happens just as planned. Effective incident analysis follows the work as it actually happened, not the imaginary straight line. The straight line is never where the work happens. Sources of error are usually system-induced, not personal. To understand human error, you have to stop looking for people's personal shortcomings. Saying what people did or did not do or what they should have done does not explain why they did what they did. Why did their actions make sense at the time? Task demands contributing factors. Time pressure, in a hurry, high workload, memory requirements, multitasking, repetitive, monotonous work, irreversible acts, interpretation requirements, unclear goals, roles, and responsibilities, lack of standards or unclear standards. Drug and alcohol-free policy. This project has a 100% zero-tolerance drug policy. All employees will be drug tested prior to working on site, in the event of an incident, and randomly. All Robinson Morton Construction Management Team employees will sign a drug policy acknowledgement form prior to working on the project. All subcontractor employees will be required to follow their company policy. Emergency response. In the event of an emergency, medical, fire, etc., activate the crisis management plan. Primary notifications will be by radio. Subcontractors will have project radios. Dial 911 for fire, police, or rescue. Give the dispatcher your name, your exact location, the nature of the emergency, and inform the project office immediately. Evacuation procedures. 3 short blasts. Evacuate to the designated rally point. See the project emergency action plan and evacuation map for details. 1 long steady blast. Return to normal. On-site medical attention. Each contractor is required to have first aid and CPR trained personnel on site. Each contractor should have a local urgent care facility for worker treatment in the event of an injury. All injuries will be reported to the site safety manager as soon as possible. Injuries not requiring treatment will still be documented. Access Care for Robbins and Morton employees. Access Care is a first call nursing triage service Robbins and Morton has partnered with to provide you with immediate access to a healthcare professional should you become injured while working on our job site. Access Care nurses will work with our employees to provide immediate first aid advice, evaluate the necessity of medical treatment beyond site first aid, and help guide employees through the process of treatment, transitional duty, and return to work in a manner that eliminates the uncertainty of recovery. Access Care's injury evaluation, first aid instructions, and follow-up should reassure the employee that this course of care is the appropriate course of care. Pre-task meetings. Pre-task meetings will be held discussing project tasks, the hazards associated, and how we will eliminate the hazard. These will be completed, kept on site, and checked periodically by the project team. Safety meetings. A site-wide safety meeting will be conducted by the project team each week to discuss relevant safety topics. Each subcontractor will also hold a weekly safety meeting with their teams. Lightning. We work in rain, but we never have to work in lightning. Count the seconds between seeing lightning and hearing thunder. If this time is less than 30 seconds, lightning is still a potential threat. Seek shelter immediately. Our hope. Now, that's a lot of information. Let's put it into practice. Come to the project and see what we're talking about for yourself. We hope through this presentation you were able to catch even some of the excitement we feel for this project. Now come on, let's do this. You'll have to do your part though. Let us know what works, and as important, what doesn't. It's your project. Make it work for you and for our clients.